What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown episode 42. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Hot fire! Hot fire! No,
and Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
All right, Brett and Rachel may join us later. I think they're having some technical difficulties. And Brian will not be joining us for a while. He's got some stuff he needs to handle, so you won't see him writing anything for Coalition or doing any podcasts until the end of the month. That's what he wanted me to tell you guys. So Brian's all right. Everything's cool. He just got to handle some shit, so we won't be hearing that voice of his.
Yeah, so we'll have to do impressions of him. Oi, yeah. Brian!
Oi, oi, oi.
It's a jolly holiday with Mary!
Oh man, since we don't have that many people, we're gonna vamp a little bit. Chris, how's Batman treating you?
Good, except the AR challenges. Some of them get fucking hard. How do you do a fair takedown through a wall? I did that mission like 20 times, and I'm like, why won't he just grab 3 guys to the fucking wall? It's like, and then it's like one of the requirements. I don't know. I get frustrated with some of those Predator challenges. Like
yeah.
I actually now prefer the racing stuff. I used to love those. Now I'm like, this fucking Predator challenges are insane. It's like, shit.
I think I actually did all the Predator challenges okay. Like, hold on. The one you're thinking about is because you had to do a fear takedown through a wall, right? But you got to make sure all 3 of them are like bunched up so you go hit one guy, then hit the other guy, then hit the other guy.
Yeah, it's funny because like I'll try to use the voice thing, and then one guy will be like, I'm not falling for that. I'm like, shit. How the fuck am I gonna get over here?
Yeah, I was just patient. I just waited and waited until I saw they were kind of close. I'm like, all right, I'm doing it now. So I got lucky there, and I actually managed to get like 3 stars in all the races except for one, and this is my beef. Some of these, because you could only unlock certain challenges by doing things in the main game, right? And some of these, the game never taught you how to do them. Like it's like perform 3 like gadget moves while you're like gliding. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, like, you can only do it if you have those upgrades. Like I can only throw batarangs while I'm gliding. I only got that one.
I don't even know how to do that.
I
don't even know how to do that. Like I have everything upgraded, and I don't even know how to do that. I'm like, the game never taught me how to do that. So I have no fucking clue. Like sometimes I'm diving and they'll say target. I'm like, okay, I'm targeting someone, and it doesn't tell me anything else after that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of silly. But yeah, I was thinking about getting the platinum for this, but then I realized, because I thought there were 69 AR challenges and you got to get 1 star in each. No, there are 69 stars.
Stars. You gotta get 3 stars on like
in everything. Like granted, you do have the scarecrow missions to offset that. I got 9 stars easy on those, by the way. But 9 stars is still not enough to offset it. So I'm hoping, since it's going to be 6 months worth of DLC, they're going to have a couple more AR challenges so they could beef it up a little bit so I get 69 stars, because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah. I'll say 2 things. Worse than a Predator challenge is the fucking bat tank stuff. Did you ever do the one where you're in a tiny circle and you can only dodge in a tiny circle?
Yeah, I did that.
The fucking mission pissed me off so much. You move in this stupid little circle. It's like, what? How is this natural? And you're like, I keep hitting the wall and I get blown up, and I kept getting pissed off. And then 2, that 6 months of DLC, I saw the trailer for the Matter of Family, the Batgirl one.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That shit better be longer than half an hour, because I beat that Harley Quinn shit in like 30 minutes. I'm like, this is a story pack? This was like you walk downstairs and you get poison ivy out of the cell. I'm like, that's it? That's all I got. That was a story pack.
Yeah, they need to be beefier. I didn't play the Harley one. I did play the Red Hood one. I think that was 20 minutes. I'm like, wait, did I just beat this? Like, I barely just started it. What the fuck?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not. That's why I'm not investing in that season pass thing, because I feel like, for the most part, those things are not going to be really worth it.
Yeah, hopefully the Batgirl's beefier, like, because the Red Hood one, it was like, okay, I got to go kill Black Mask. Okay. Yeah. Nothing else to it,
The Harley one is just go let poison ivy out of his cell. Like, you literally beat up some cops. You go in another room. You do Predator moves, like Batman, almost, with her. You take down some cops. You go downstairs, and then you beat up some more cops, and you get her out. And it's like, that was it. And the only reason it took me 30 minutes is I literally stood there trying to listen to what the cops were saying, and she has this weird inner dialogue in her head.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to all that. If I didn't, it would have been 20 minutes. I could have just ran downstairs and fucking just finished it. I'm like, this is nothing.
Yeah, now I'm like, damn, man, I hope they give me more shit, because that's $40, man. You know, it's crazy.
I ain't paying for it.
Man, you might be the wise man.
I mean, I just bought the game this time around. I was gonna buy the special super edition so I can get my own book because DC don't send me shit.
But they canceled it.
They canceled it.
They cancel it.
Also,
no, I think the book. I think the one of the special editions still existed. The other one that comes with the Batman, that still existed, so that still kind of came with the book. But still, whatever.
Yeah, and then as far as games we're playing, I actually played Drive Club, people.
I was down. I might still be downloading Drive Club. I don't know.
Man.
Well, I mean, you know how PlayStation 4 kind of does it in the background.
Yeah.
So it might be there the next time I turn the damn thing on, which I don't know when that's gonna be.
Damn, my download was not nearly as long. It was like 3 hours or less. That's crazy.
No, I mean, I didn't. The thing is that I turned it on and then I just turned the console off. I only started the download on Tuesday and I haven't turned on the PlayStation 4 ever since. So.
Oh, okay.
So for all I know, it's already downloaded. So.
Yeah, you just maybe got to install it now or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but yeah. So what do you think of Drive Club?
The game doesn't seem to know what it wants to be. It's like, is this a sim game or is it an arcade game? Because at certain points it feels like an arcade game, and then other points, specifically when you're trying to break and stuff, that's when it feels like a sim game. So, a little weird. What I didn't like was the fact that you start the game, like it just throws you into the race, right? And I got in first place, so it was pretty easy. And then they're like, okay, try another race, and then they literally give you the entire game, but you can't access any of it because it's the PS Plus edition. Every single thing I clicked on, buy the full version, buy the full version. I'm like, couldn't you have given me a little slice where I could have been like, okay, here's the stuff you can play, instead of me having to go through every single mode to try to find what I need to play. It just seemed like, hey, go through all this so you can see what you're missing. It's like, come on, this bullshit, guys. Let me partition me to the specific part that I can play, and that would be, that would have made things a lot better.
Well, you know what this edition is. It's just a lockdown edition. You officially have all of Drive Club. You just need that unlock code to unlock the game.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same, that's what it is. It's the full version of the game. It's just
it's kind of like when you get one of those downloadable titles, and for some reason, like when you download the demo for a downloadable title, and then for some reason you're downloading the whole game, because you are downloading the whole game.
Exactly.
And the only thing that it needs is that little bit of code that says you bought it.
Yeah, but I still think it would have been nice if they could hey, here's the stuff you can play instead of having me dig around for it. But the game isn't bad, but I see where Brian is going. He said the game has no soul. I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to say it has no personality. Like with every racing game you play, there's always that little bit of excitement about it, and I didn't sense that with this game. It looked nice, it looked beautiful, but at the same time there was something missing with it. It just didn't seem. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I have a feeling that the vision of the game probably got just changed because the director initially left this title.
Yeah, that's probably what happened then.
So I feel like he might have had some sort of vision, but once he left, he just said, "All right, fuck this. I'm not doing this no more." So
yeah. Well, I guess you could give us your thoughts whenever you get around to playing it, but I only played one track.
I don't. To be honest, I don't have any high expectations for it because I don't really care for racing games. I'm just downloading it just for the plain fact it's like, hey, look, that's something to it's free. Why not get it, right?
That's the reason I got it. I'm like, hey, it's free. Fuck it, I'm not paying for it. Let's check it out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my thought on it.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the main topics since we're talking about PSN. So Forbes did an article that I was checking out. Apparently there's a movement called Better PSN, hashtag Better PSN. I don't know if it was directly started, but I know Colin Moriarty, formerly of IGN, now of Kind of Funny, he's a big champion for it. And it's basically, how everybody's always complaining about PSN, all the features is missing, all this other stuff, and they want Sony to make what they're calling PSN 2.0. Chris, I know you were looking at some of the checklist stuff. What was some of the stuff people want from it?
Oh yeah, well one thing I noticed was they wanted continuous syncing of trophies, which I think would be great because right now it's
instead
a
of
pain in
having
the ass. It's a pain in the ass on PS4, and it's an even bigger pain in the ass on PS3. It takes like 20, 30 minutes to sync your trophies now for some reason. I don't even remember it taking that long before PS4 came along, but it's like ridiculous. I think the status thing is cool, like to be able to play and change your status to like you could go offline like AIM. You could go invisible. You know, and maybe you just want to fuck around. You don't want invites all the time. You don't want to see shit popping up, so that'd be cool. The more cloud storage. I think now that everybody's pretty much paying for PS Plus to play online, that wouldn't be too much of a stretch. Like you're getting insane amounts of space from Google and Apple and all these guys for nothing. It's like for video games, look how much space we just need to install the game. We got all the game data and saves.
How much does Xbox get if they do that?
I don't remember what Xbox Live gives you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I know PSN gives you 2 gigs, and I already had to start deleting shit because I already ran out of space. I'm like, come on, guys.
They give you the same amount of space that Dropbox gives you when you get it for free.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right, but that's free, you know, and you could get more Dropbox space for free if you refer
people.
You
get literally a terabyte. So
yeah, you know, and Google gives you 15 gigs for free, and so I mean, like, come on, Sony, you could pony up some space. People are paying you now $50, $60 a year for PS Plus.
Yeah, I think that's where the hitch comes in. It's like all these complaints were mostly there, but now that we're paying for this shit, come on. Now we have a legit grievance because before it was like you're complaining, but it's free, so why don't you just shut up? But now it's like, come on, I'm paying for it, and shit is still fucked up. I mean, like I was gonna say this basically. I don't have too many problems myself because I play a lot of single-player games, but what about guys that play Destiny? PlayStation Network is down all the fucking time, you know, and they even schedule stuff. It happens on like Tuesdays. I'm like, why would you do that on a Tuesday when new games are released? That makes no sense. They do shit like that all the time. Or maintenance during a holiday. Like, guys, that's when people are home. What the hell?
Yeah, you know when maintenance should happen? It should probably, well, then it gets kind of hard. It's a little tangled, but there is a point in time where you can throw out a maintenance patch and all that stuff where people are not, you know.
I would say Monday.
Mondays or even like early in the morning.
Yeah, something.
Well, you have to do it. You have to do it staggered because early in the morning is subjective depending on where you live.
Well, I mean, you know, there is a point where everybody is asleep in the United States.
Yeah, but what about the rest of the world? The rest of the world.
No, well, theirs has to be the rest of the world has nothing to do with the United States. Those guys, they are in their own territories, and they are when they schedule their stuff, that is, you know, only for them.
But I thought when PSN was down, it was down for the entire world. I thought that's how it went.
There are certain days. I mean, you know, in England, the date that their PlayStation Store updates is different than ours. So, and I think also their maintenance times are also different as ours.
Yeah, the only thing the maintenance was the same.
No, it's different for different territories.
All right. I mean, if that's the case, then you have to do it at a time when like almost all American. But the thing is, people are playing games all the time. So
people are playing games all the time. But listen, that's a simple fact. You have to do maintenance.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. So
but
I mean,
some people are complaining that they do too much maintenance. Like apparently, Xbox doesn't have as much maintenance as PSN does. PSN has it at least like twice a month or something. Like so, supposedly Xbox doesn't have it nearly.
Yeah, they need a better schedule for maintenance. And they need a better patch schedule too. The system updates seem to just come at random and seem to have random things. Some system updates for PlayStation will have these grandiose things like we're adding a media player, we're adding this, we're adding that. Great.
And then there's those mysterious ones.
Yeah, it's like stability. And it's like, well, okay, you could roll up a stability patch, but like this patch is as big as the other patch that had 10 billion updates in it, and this patch has one ambiguous update, you know, and the same thing. I used to complain about that on PS3. You get an update and be like, "We updated the photos section." It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
This needed a system update, you know. And it's like you got to halt your old day. Okay, let me just update the system because you can't sign to PSN anymore because photos needs to be updated. You need a schedule for that stuff. Like Xbox does that on like a schedule. It's like it used to be a quarterly schedule, but now they have more stuff, so it's like tighter, maybe once a month or something. But Sony's happens whenever they fucking feel like it. Like you'll just turn on your PlayStation, it's like, nope, can't get on PSN. Oh, I guess there's an update. You know?
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it, and you can literally have an update happen while you're on the thing, and it'll toss you off.
Yeah, and then for the people that don't play PlayStation all the time, right? They're always complaining, like, because literally if they're not on all the time, every time they turn on the system, what happens?
Yeah, there's some sort of update
every single time. If you only play PlayStation once a month, you're getting an update every single time. So what if you just want to pop in and just play a game? Can't do that shit, Yeah. But yeah, the trophies thing is a big one. What else would I like? I still think the store is a mess. That needs to be fixed. Like the whole way you type in stuff. I like the old PSN, the one directly before the new one, PSN store.
I don't even think that. I think that one was pretty shitty too.
That one was easy to find. This one, I'm like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Like, I used to be religious about that. Every Tuesday, go to PSN store, check out what's new. Now I don't even bother because it's such a hassle to go through it. So that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I think they should know what you do. Like they don't keep track of what you do on your system. It should be easy for Sony, even easier than Steam or anything else, to keep track of what you do and what you're buying. I never look at PS Now or the video section. I'm always looking at games, right? So why the hell is it the sidebar jumbled mess? Why in a sale do I get movies mixed in with the games? And I'm like, oh wait, this is a movie. I don't give a shit about this. I just want to see the games. And it's like, I don't know. And they could tell, but they don't do anything about it. It's just like they don't care, to update this thing. So it's like, let me just filter games. Like, let me come into the store, see the games. The movies can be at the bottom, but then you do the sales, and then everything is mixed together because it's like, I know you're slick, Sony, you want us to buy the movies, but I don't want to buy movies digitally most of the time. And I don't care, and I don't want to rent it either. I just want to see what the game sales are. That's like 99% of the reason I signed up for PlayStation Plus is like to see what the game deals are.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right about that. It's like, if you've never bought a single movie in your life, ever rented one in your life, why the fuck is it giving you movies and even on the main XMB, whatever the fuck it's called now, there's the Spotify, whatever the fuck it's called. I'm like, why? I don't use this shit. Let me delete it. I'm not.
Yeah, and they will not let you get rid of it off of your front page. That's like, I don't want it. Just, can you delete it? Because I don't want it.
Yeah, it's like, this is the game system. I don't care about this other shit. Like, get rid of it, man. So yeah, that sucks.
I mean, it's almost kind of, it's a little like the old Xbox where they're always constantly throwing ads at you. You'd be in one part of you'd even be on your pause screen and you get ads.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the ads in this aren't too bad. I think they're okay. But yeah, and I still think it's kind of slow too, especially the PSN store. It's faster than PS3, obviously.
I've always had ever since I've got my PlayStation. I've always had the issue where I log into the store and it doesn't start up. It just lags there and stays there. And sometimes I've turned off my console and turned it back on, and there we go. Now it works. It realized it's supposed to work, but yeah, I've had that plenty of times.
I've had this stuff crash on me. Like usually it's usually on PS3. Like, I'll be in the store and I'll go search for something, or I'll go into a game. All of a sudden the screen goes black. I'm like, what? And then I'm back at the XMB and it starts back up. I'm like, what the fuck? It's just crashed.
The funny thing is that the PlayStation 3 store, it's like, if you move too fast, you can crash the store.
Yeah,
if you try to scroll through everything too quickly.
Oh, what's this? Look at it. Rentable servers for when official servers are taken down. That's interesting. That's one of the suggestions they're asking for. Better / more CDNs with universally consistent speeds that are competent with Live, Steam, Origin, etc. That'd be good. What about security? Because that's been a sticking issue too. What can they do to fix that? I'm looking at you, Chris, specifically. You know about that shit.
Well, the stuff they need better packet filtering and that kind of security. I don't know what they're doing now in terms of it. It seems like they're doing nothing. And I don't know where the money is spent in terms of security and security auditing their servers, and what kind of firewalls or filtering they put up, barriers between the servers and the rest of the internet. But you definitely have a wall between your server farm, and then you have these filters and these routers and stuff, and you have everyone connecting into it, and then going through this filtering. So I don't know what they're using. I don't know. Now they're definitely making more money off PSN than ever before. You have subscriptions now. You have the money to spend, but they haven't spent the money in the right places. Like put some money there. Like especially with the Lizard Squad stuff over the holidays, that was pretty embarrassing. Like the downtime in that was embarrassing. Like that could have been solved. And so the fact that it went on for days and days and days, and like they were like helpless, it seemed like some kids in Finland took you down, and that's really fucking embarrassing. And it should have been like audited, and that should never happen again. But then it happens again, and like I know Microsoft handles this a little better. Like they have less downtime. They still have had downtime, but they seem to spend more money on auditing their security and updating their stuff than Sony does, which Sony doesn't seem to do anything. And then the same things happen, and then they throw up their hands and go, oh, we'll fix it. But it's like, what are you guys doing? Just waiting for the problem to go away? It's like, why is nothing updated, and why is there no transparency? Why don't we know what's happening? We never know what's happening.
Yeah, you never know.
And then they apologize afterwards. Oh, we're sorry. But don't apologize. Just say you're fixing it and have something in place. If it goes down for a week, like if I was out of cable, if Time Warner just went down for a week, you'd be on the phone calling them like, bitch, I'm not paying you for this shit. Like, I want a refund or something. Like, I didn't get TV or shit for a week, right? But with PSN, that's why we can't do that. We can't say, what are you giving me in return for this downtime? Like, if they decide by their good graces they're going to offer you free game or something, it's like, that's like
that's not enough, man. That's not enough.
Because you can't get back time, and that's what they don't seem to understand. They're just equating it with money value, but it's like, no, there was a period of time that you want to play with your friends. It's a holiday. You can't get that back. So it's like you should try to regain people's trust by showing that you're making the service better and not saying like, oh, we're sorry. What are you doing about it? Are you getting better routers? Are you upgrading the server farm? Are you doing this? Are you taking people's suggestions? Are you getting new security engineers because your old ones are not doing the job that they're supposed to be doing? Like, what is it that you're doing to make the service better and make us trust you?
Yeah, and they're not doing anything to show us that they're doing anything better, like at all. Like they're just like you're right. They're just making excuses without instead of just telling us, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we will be doing from now on. None of that shit. You know, you can't. I mean, you're talking about transparency. They left us in the dark for like what 3 days before they finally explained what the fuck was happening. You know, it's like, come on, you can't do that shit. You know, they did it twice.
Yeah, and they haven't learned their lesson because before that they were hacked, right? They were hacked. Credit cards got stolen, right? Mm-hmm. So Sony Online, people's accounts and stuff got hacked, credit cards, whatever, and they didn't inform people like what was it, weeks after it happened. Like after it actually happened, then they came on like, oh, we're sorry. It's like, no, you didn't inform anyone. You tried to fucking handle it yourself. You don't know how to handle it because you have bad security, and it's like almost like, you know, big business deciding, well, we could take the losses versus actually doing the work to fix the security. So, fuck it, you know? And it's like that's what got them in trouble with Sony Pictures, too. Bad security. Only this time, this wasn't just, you know, some small customers. This was your actors and your directors, all these big-time people whose fucking accounts got leaked. Then you fucking took that shit seriously. And now you have your online being attacked again, and it's like, we could take some downtime hits and some complaints versus actually fixing it. No, this time people are mad about it. You're going to lose trust, and when you lose trust, you lose customers, and that's a bad thing. This is not the time for you to fuck up, because if you lose your trust with PSN, then guess what? People are not going to invest in PlayStation. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to Xbox, or they're going to play at Steam, and they're just going to avoid you if they can't trust you.
Yeah, and then isn't it like insane that this is happening? Like Sony has pretty much the most subpar service out there, yet they're the most popular console. It shouldn't be this way, you know? It's insane. It's like, how do you get to that level and then not treat your customers the way they should be treated? It's like, don't you want to keep these people around? These like 20 million plus people? Come on. It's insane, and I don't know if it's just like a culture thing because Sony still run, you know, in Japan. I don't know. I know they're better than Nintendo as far as listening to people, but at the same time, it's not enough.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat of a money thing too. They just haven't invested the money in the right places in terms of their network infrastructure, which I think is coming to bite them in the ass, which is why there's so much damn maintenance, because they had this huge surge of PS4s, right? And they had this itty bitty network and this server farm that they didn't update at all to handle it, and then all these people started signing on. So now they're slowly expanding it, but I really don't think they had a good plan to account for PlayStation 4's success.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
So it just came up on them, and they're like, oh shit, we don't have enough servers. We don't have the infrastructure set up. And then Lizard Squad came along and said, fuck these guys, and boom, like, oh, we don't have the security, so you have a hole in it, and bam, takes everything down. And then now they're just playing catch up, like, oh, well, Microsoft, they had that shit in place, and they had a good plan because, you know, they do servers and all that stuff, so they knew what to do. So Xbox had a much easier time scaling, and that's a problem that Sony seems to have, is scaling up their systems and the security in their routers and their network infrastructure at the same time to accommodate everyone, and they haven't done a good job of that, and I don't know if it was just bad planning or that they didn't spend the money. I don't know what, or both. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you know history, it's kind of interesting. PS3 originally wasn't supposed to have like a big, robust online thing, right? It was the American side. It was like, guys, get some fucking online in this system, you know? And it was kind of half-assed. And you would figure like they would have learned from that mistake and made, because they, come on, going into PS4, they had to have known that it was going to be a very big online heavy machine. I mean, originally it was supposed to be very similar to Xbox with the whole DRM thing, right? It's supposed to be digital, yet they didn't do enough. I mean, every single time a big new game comes out, big online game, the fucking servers go out. It consistently happens. I'm like, that's not something that should be happening anymore. It's insane, especially now that people are fucking paying for it. And then, look at the whole drive clip situation. I don't know if you could blame PSN exactly. It might be this evolution, but it's still the same basic thing. Like, oh, we're not ready for this influx of people. We weren't prepared. How could you not be prepared? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, because one arm of them is like, oh, we're going to sell 2 million copies of this game. And then the engineers are like, oh shit, 2 million people signed on. What the fuck? It's like, you can't like have this disparity. If you expect that this is going to sell a certain amount, and you know it sells a certain amount, and then you go, oh shit, we weren't ready for this many people. Like, how? How does that happen?
Yeah, man. So there's a lot of shit that needs to be done, man. Manny, any thoughts?
No, I mean, it's all the things that you're saying. It's absolutely true. I mean, there are a lot of problems. The only difference between me and you guys is I don't really play that many online games, so I don't experience a lot of the issues other than the random like update. Like I've for the most part I've always been able to get online and do what I needed to do. The holiday season, I didn't actually have any games I was playing for holiday, so I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm not exactly a good, representation of what would be considered a normal gamer nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right. Because what was it during the first DDoS attack, right? Mm-hmm. That's when GTA introduced, snow and everything for holiday. Nobody could really play that. And then when Evolve came out, remember that shit? Mm-hmm. Like the PSN went down again, and then they had to like completely shut that down. They were having a beta or something. It was insane. So yeah, there's still a lot. Hopefully Sony will listen. Is like,
well, I mean, but one thing is they better get their shit together before Call of Duty comes out. They signed that Call of Duty contract, so those guys don't take no for an answer. Something goes wrong, you're gonna see that shit.
Well, remember what happened last time with PS3? What did the Call of Duty guys do? They went over to Xbox. Mm-hmm. They went right over to Xbox. Like, fuck this shit. I'm buying an Xbox. I gotta play my Call of Duty. Those guys are like rabbit, man. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Sony, get your shit together.
I mean, it's interesting that all of a sudden now this guy Moriarty wants to be a force for change. What happened?
Yeah, right.
All of a sudden, like what was the straw that broke the camel's back for this guy?
I don't know, because I mean, did anything happen this week? I'm not sure, but
as far as I know, I don't know. I mean, there was an update, but I don't remember.
I know that the movement started on NeoGAF, and then this guy picked it up and stuff, and everybody's running with it.
It's nice to see that that he's he noticed that he's taking up more causes since he's now a free agent.
Yeah, he can now. He can. IGN's not behind him.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm definitely sure. You know, concerning the recent interview that you had, I'm sure if he was still at IGN, he probably wouldn't be able to do something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the plug, by the way.
Yes.
I got interviewed by a based gamer, our friend Jenny Barrage, who used to be on the Coalition. We were just like, I saw them in the press room, and we just started talking about the industry as we always do. And she was like, "Hey, can I interview you?" And I'm like, "Sure." I'm not exactly uncomfortable being in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So we did this interview, and they edited really well and stuff, even though she didn't actually edit too much of what I said. I think it was all in there. It's just the shots were edited. That was it. What I said wasn't edited at all, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's on the site now. It's actually right next to this post, so make sure to check that out. But
head over to that direction.
Yeah, over there. Actually, I think it would be. I don't know where.
I don't know which way it is. Yeah, maybe this way.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to Manny's favorite story of the night. Hideki Kamiya slams Mighty Number 9 and Keiji Inafune.
I'm gonna say this. If you guys ever get a chance to read this thing does not. What this guy wrote was not just him being critical. This sounded very personal.
Yeah.
He's like, oh well, he mismanaged the Mega Man franchise and blah blah blah. Blah. It's like, and when the other thing is, it's like, dude. The things that he's been saying was essentially like, Kenji Inafune is essentially playing on people's nostalgia, which kind of is, and rehashing games and stuff like that. But the thing is that Platinum Games is not. They're not. It's not like they don't do that shit too. I mean, what the fuck do you call Bayonetta? That's fucking Devil May Cry. I'm sorry. It's got this fucking lady in it, but you know what? That's just a new. Officially, that could just be a new skin for Dante,
Yeah, he said the game was an insult to Capcom.
It's an insult to Capcom. You know what? It doesn't matter. The thing is, it's like you're essentially doing the same things. I mean. I'm thinking about, Platinum Games' first game. How the fuck did they get that shit together so quickly?
Oh, yeah, MT Framework.
Yeah, because they fucking took the MT Framework. Anybody, even by looking at the goddamn engine, you can see that they just took MT Framework. So what the fuck was that? That's pretty dishonorable too. Just taking an engine that you may have some of the guys that worked on and say, oh, hey, we're going to use this.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him being critical of Keiji Inafune. I do have a problem with him saying, well, essentially, playing holier than thou and thinking that his shit doesn't stink, even though it just stinks about as much as Keiji Inafune's. And if he thought of the idea first, maybe he would have. Maybe they'd be making a lot more money. Who knows?
Yeah, and I know he wasn't happy because remember, Keiji Inafune was very critical about Japanese developers, saying that they don't innovate, not like the Westerners. And then he goes off to make a Mega Man game.
Oh yeah, dude, it's definitely a business move. What do you think? As a if you're the creator of this game, what do people know from you? You're going to go with the thing that people know, even if it is a spiritual successor or whatever. And again, Platinum Games is guilty of this too.
Yeah, with Bayonetta and such.
Bayonetta. I mean, half their games are essentially just rehashes of games that they did in the past. I mean, they're Resident Evil 4 clones. They're, you know what I mean?
Wait, which one is a Resident Evil clone game from?
Isn't Vanquish is essentially Resident Evil underneath?
No, Vanquish is fucking fast, dude.
I know it's fast, but in the end, what is it? It's Resident Evil.
Well, maybe 5, like a faster Resident Evil 5.
It's a faster Resident Evil 5.
But it's not like an obvious one like
it's
Number
not.
9 is.
It's not an obvious one. But I always say just look at Bayonetta. That's probably the best best example I could think of.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there is always going to be a fair amount. Any game company, any studio that makes these sorts of games. When one company makes one, another company makes a spiritual remake of the damn thing. So I don't see anything wrong with what Inafune is doing. And to me, it's like, you're kind of giving people what they want.
Yeah, and I guess
agree with that.
yeah.
And also, it's obviously personal because I didn't see Kamiya pointing a finger at Mikami and said, hey, evil within. What the fuck is that? It's an insult.
Yeah,
that's an insult.
That's an insult right there. And I mean, I definitely think Keiji Inafune. The other thing is, I think Keiji Inafune was in charge of like Capcom's games division or something at the point where Clover got closed down and a lot of those guys got let go. So I definitely think that's where the pissiness comes from.
Yeah, the animosity.
Where the animosity comes from, exactly.
Yeah, because you're right. He didn't say shit to about fucking Shinji Mikami's game. Nothing about that shit.
Yeah, he didn't say shit about Shinji Mikami's game. It's just specifically they're essentially doing the same sort of thing. They're making spiritual successors or semi-remakes of games.
He didn't say shit about Igarashi, He wasn't saying nothing about him.
He didn't say anything about Igarashi.
No, and he won't because this is personal. And not only that, it's like Inafune went to the people, right? He's like, here's a crowdfunding. Yeah, he could have investors, but he said, "You want this?" And people said resoundingly, "Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I want Mega Man. I don't care what it looks like. I want that." Right?
Yeah.
So he's making it. There you go. That's it.
And that's not to say that the game isn't. Yes, it is. It feels very much like a Mega Man game, but that doesn't mean it's exactly like Mega Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. The DNA is there, but that's
what are you gonna call that? What was that? The Banjo Kazooie type of one. What do they call that one? Ukulele. See, what is that? Or are you gonna yell at those guys too for essentially doing the same thing?
Yeah, he's gonna yell at Iga. He's like Bloodstain.
Yeah, he's gonna do an Iga, right? No, he has a bone. He has a bone to pick with Keiji Inafune, probably over some stuff that's happened in the past.
Yeah, over Capcom, exactly.
Over at Capcom.
And it's
why does he even care if it's insulting to Capcom? That's why
he doesn't give it. Number one, he's a fucking bullshit artist. He doesn't give a shit about no fucking Capcom.
It's insulting Capcom. They fucking laid you guys off, man. Why do you give a shit what they?
Yeah, you don't care about no Capcom.
He's just saying that because he's pissed at Inafune.
Yeah, he's just pissed at him. He doesn't care.
I just find that odd. I'm like, it's an insult to Capcom. I'm like, why do you give a shit? How they insulted? They're only insulted they can't make money off that shit.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And they don't seem to be they don't seem to be suing him for anything. So.
I'm sure he was very careful. I'm sure he had a lot of lawyers to try to figure out where he could and couldn't go with this game.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Going back to DDoS attacks. So the guy that did this shit, he got arrested. So good on you, authorities, for finally catching this guy.
The DDoS attack? Well, what happened?
Remember
the one?
The Lizard Squad, the holiday.
The Lizard Squad, those motherfuckers. Yeah, they finally captured them. I mean, it was a team of guys, obviously, but it was the main dude. They got him. And they got him on video, too, or something like that. Like, he was on video admitting it and then some other shit. So they finally arrested his ass. It was on, 50,000 count of, cyber crimes or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. He got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
It's what he got 2 years suspended sentence. That means he doesn't go to jail. If he was here, he'd be going to jail.
Yeah, he'd be going to because this was in Finland, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I mean, was there any money that was actually lost? Were there stolen?
There wasn't stolen money.
No, it's just loss. Anytime you break up business and lose a service, there's loss of money. There's operating costs. There's a cost of people having to work to fix it. There's all these soft dollars that I don't know if Microsoft and Sony calculated it and whatever, but I'm sure they're fucking pissed off that, they can't wring this kid's neck or drag him into a U.S. court.
Oh, he did bribe. There was a bribe, though. Remember that?
But that was the Mega Upload guy.
Yeah.
His bounty or whatever he did. I don't know.
But yeah,
that didn't make sense to me.
You're right, though. If this was America, this dude would have been arrested, straight up.
Yeah, I mean, he probably would have gotten Kevin Mitnick type of he would have been in jail as long as Kevin Mitnick was.
Now I know they're softer on cybercrime and stuff. We're a little harsh, but I don't think anybody would have shed a tear if they put this guy away for like for like 10, 20 years in a hole like Kevin Mitnick was in. And what did Kevin Mitnick do? He hacked like a PBX phone center once.
Yeah,
he got put away forever.
He was hacking into the phone into a cell phone service, into the cell phone service. So essentially, he was, getting money and all kinds of other stuff. So he was doing some pretty serious shit. But,
this guy was doing some serious shit.
Yeah.
Disabled two different services. He he coordinated and disabled both Xbox Live and PSN for days over Christmas on purpose, maliciously to fuck with everyone's holiday. That's some fucking heartless shit.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a PS4 for Christmas. Oh, I got Xbox One for Christmas. Guess what, kids?
Nope, no Christmas for you.
Scrooge in Finland said, fuck you.
No presents, not for Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that's the thing. It's like 50,000 counts, and he gets a slap on the wrist. Imagine if he would have got at least 1 day of jail for each of those counts. He would still be there for years,
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane. So there you go. They caught him, and they didn't really do anything to him. Next thing here. So okay, we all know how there was a partnership between Nintendo and Sony to make a CD Nintendo, right, or whatever it was going to be called. Somebody posted pictures of one of the prototypes. Here's the thing. Personally, I thought it was bullshit.
No, I mean the thing is that they've showed the prototype before.
No, I know it exists, but I thought this guy was making shit up. And then people started reaching out to him specifically, because remember, I'm not the biggest fan of Polygon, but I like Brian Crescente. He's a cool dude. He reached out to this guy, and he found out. He did a whole interview with him. So apparently this guy's father used to work at the company that used to manufacture these things.
Ah.
And they told everybody, like, okay, these need to be destroyed, right? And he kept one. He snuck one out. And his father apparently is going through some hard times, and he was getting ready to sell a bunch of stuff. And the kid sees this, and he's like, oh, shit, that's the Nintendo PlayStation, you know? So he takes that, he posts a bunch of pictures on Reddit and stuff, and then he eventually did a video for Polygon showing them, how all the components and stuff. So like there's literal history right there, and like the funny thing is the controller was a Super Nintendo controller, right? With the PlayStation logo on it.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I kind of called BS on that first, because I didn't think they had the name PlayStation set at that point. I thought
that was it. That was it.
So yeah,
we've seen the Nintendo CD where it attached to the bottom of the Super Nintendo. They've showed shots of it.
Yeah, this is like the actual console itself, though. Like you could put cartridges in the top and then a CD in the middle, and then had like an expansion slot in the bottom, which is a weird place to put an expansion slot. RF switches, all the other stuff, and the cartridge. The kid is like, I don't know what's on this cartridge because he doesn't have power to this thing. So yeah, there you go. Pretty crazy stuff. Someone actually found it. What could have been. I'm pretty sure in an alternate universe, people are playing Nintendo's PlayStations. And Nintendo's actually competent or something. Who knows?
I mean,
What's weird is like they talk about it like the 1991 shaming of Sony and at CES, and Nintendo said they were going to make the deal with Philips. It's like, who was shamed at that deal? Who's got a successful gaming console in the last 4 generations? And where's Philips?
Yeah.
Philips, believe it or not, Philips
they make some light bulbs. When I go to Home Depot, I know I can buy some of the light bulbs.
Philips is one of those kind of weird companies where they create a lot of different products, and you don't know exactly what they make. So I mean, it's an interesting thing that they decide. And Philips is also not a like in every territory. Like in other words, in some territories they just don't make anything. They don't have things. So it's a weird thing that they decided to go with them as opposed to maybe like another bigger company.
Yeah, I don't remember all the details. I remember I read this a long time ago. The whole shitstorm with the deal and something Sony did, and Nintendo didn't like it, and they made this backroom deal with Philips, and then at CES they went, Sony said, hey, we're making this thing. And then Nintendo came out and said, we made a deal with Philips. And kind of didn't tell them, which was a really shitty thing to do. So Sony found out at CES along with everyone else, which is kind of shitty. But it's like, all right, guys, like, how did that deal work out for you? Nintendo's like kind of in the crapper right now, like falling behind the times. It's like you could imagine what could have been with that partnership, like how far that could have gone for them. But instead, they kind of created their own worst enemy, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because now Sony's like at the top of the food chain as far as consoles go. Let's just be honest. I think if this deal would have went through, I think Nintendo would have dragged. The whole thing would have been fucked. I think because it'd still be Nintendo. It'd still be the same guys in charge, and we see how well they've done for themselves. So I think history would turn out right in this universe. It's like.
Yeah,
I can see the way Nintendo kind of works is just them eventually being like, oh well, people don't want to buy this thing, so we'll just leave it alone, forget it,
Yeah, another
abandoning it.
But who knows? Maybe Sony would have from that they would have been like, okay, we're gonna do our own thing, because Nintendo, I don't know, but either way, it wasn't meant to be, but still very interesting piece of history there. All right, so San Diego Comic-Con has started. First day.
Yeah, boy.
Comic-Cons, man, did you see any figures you liked?
I've been looking. It's just been a little bit dry. I kind of go through a couple of different sites. Toy Haven and Toy Arc, and then there's another one. Doku. I forgot the name of the other one that I go to. But yeah, I haven't seen anything as of yet. But there's some pretty cool stuff. Like they have a real. I mean, they finally revealed the Terminator figure of Arnold of the Oldinator. They call me the Oldinator. Yeah, they have the Oldinator, and then they have a couple of other new really cool ones. Ant-Man. They some preview shots of the Ant-Man Hot Toys figure and a lot of other stuff. But I mean, I haven't seen anything. As Torrance would say. Megatons.
Yeah, just microtons.
Some microtons. I'm mostly waiting for my Rocket Raccoon to come in.
Oh, man. Yeah, because last year, obviously, that was like a big San Diego Comic-Con. There was like megatons everywhere. So people are expecting it. But the thing is, this year, interestingly enough, Marvel doesn't have a panel. No Marvel Studios presence. So some Warner Brothers has the whole shit to themselves. And they... See, to me personally, this wasn't a megaton, but it was on Twitter. Everybody's just talking about it. We'll get to that later. But anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is, so apparently Wesley Snipes has been talking to Marvel about Blade.
Oh, good.
He doesn't know if he's going to be returning as Blade. He doesn't know if he's going to be, he doesn't know exactly what's going to happen, but he is talking to them.
Listen, I'd like to see him do Blade again. I mean, granted, that last film was a piece of schlock, but the second one and the first one, those are pretty friggin' solid movies. And officially, those are the films that really started this whole journey down with the superhero films.
Yeah, because people seem to forget this shit.
Everybody says X-Men, but no. That came at the tails of Blade.
Yeah, it was Blade first. That was the first one. It was like, oh, this is cool, because that was the first superhero movie, correct me if I'm wrong, that it kind of used, even though it wasn't great, it used CG well, for a superhero movie.
I mean, I think in general it was just a very entertaining film. They took a character that you didn't give a shit about, fucking Blade. Who cares about Blade?
No, man, and it was rated R.
And it was a rated R. It was a hard R, by the way.
Yes,
I mean, literally, friggin' Blade would chop somebody's throat open, and the friggin' a geyser of blood would fly out of him. It was literally like an anime. It was almost like an anime, almost, to that one. But yeah, it was that film that really started us down the superhero journey. It showed us that you could have, even though Blade I can't really consider him a superhero, but it shows that a comic book film can be a serious and well done and entertaining film.
Yeah, exactly. Because let's face it, even as much as we love the Superman movies, they were still kind of goofy too,
Yes, I mean they were a little more juvenile. I mean, even Batman was one of those films that said, hey, you can make a really good, entertaining superhero film. But the thing is that the problem is that when Batman came out, everybody wanted to be Batman. You watch Dick Tracy, it wants to be Batman. I mean, even the music in it, they even get this kind of rip-off Danny Elfman type music for it.
Yeah,
So
everybody wanted to be Batman. That's right.
everybody wanted to be Batman. The Shadow, the movie The Shadow, wanted to be Batman. You know.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Before Blade, like you would get maybe one really good comic book movie every 10 years,
Yeah.
right? Then Blade came out, and then like a year later, X-Men came out. It's like, whoa, something's going on here. Then Spider-Man came out. It's like, okay, we're in the golden age. It has begun. Even though here's what I find funny that people don't talk about too much. Like after I would say Spider-Man 2, and between Spider-Man 2 and I guess Iron Man, comic book movies kind of went back to being crappy again for a while.
I don't think they went back to be crappy.
Not as crappy as they used to be.
There was some crappy ones in there, but I think
Daredevil.
There was Daredevil, Ghost Rider.
Elektra.
I think those films were just trying to be like, they're just trying to take advantage as opposed to trying to get stories that's like, hey, we got this comic book thing that people kind of know. Let's do it, you know? As opposed to being as opposed to being the big difference where it was like the guy, you know, Bryan Singer, he loved the X-Men. He hired a bunch of people who liked the X-Men, you know, the writers like David Hayter and a bunch of the other guys, people who really enjoyed the thing, and it was a labor of love for them. Same thing with Spider-Man. Sam Raimi loved the character of Spider-Man, and you can even see that in the film. And that was the big difference. That in order for the film to have heart, the person directing the film had to have some sort of commitment to it.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference because we're going to talk about him a little bit later. But Ben Affleck, he's been talking a lot about Batman, right? Because they're probably going to have a big reveal and stuff. And again, we're going to get to it in a bit. But he said that, you know, to him, Daredevil, like it just seemed like, okay, slap on a costume, here's some fights, cash the money. And I think he is actually right about that. That was the attitude. I mean, like, granted, Kevin Smith had. I don't know if he had anything to do with.
No, they just got him. They just got him to attach to the movie so that they can like, oh hey, it's the guy, you nerdy guy, it's cool.
Yeah, but you see the difference there. It's like with Daredevil, you could tell the people who made that movie. It's like, hey, Daredevil's a popular guy. He's essentially Spider-Man. Get him in a movie right now. We don't care. It wasn't like, and I know people give him shit about it, but even Zack Snyder, he did a really good job with Watchmen because he loved the book. You know, like.
No, I mean, like Zack. I mean, we've said it before. Zack Snyder does. I mean, he's not so good at making his own films, but adapting stuff he doesn't do a bad job with.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the guy has two other comic book movies under his belt, which were pretty damn good comic book films.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I know people would give Superman, the Superman movie problems, like beef. I was just talking
about 300 and
300. They were great.
I was just talking about 300 and The Watchmen, but I mean, you say what you will about Superman, it has its faults. I enjoyed the film. I know it was a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a film that did well for him. So
yeah, but that's what his Blade was. Kicked that off though. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, people are gonna know this because when we all had the same reaction when we first heard that Ben Affleck was gonna be Batman. And I was
I'm sure he knows what the fuck is going on. So I'm guessing he's trying to quell that a little bit.
Well, we're all changing our tune a little bit because we realize like he does give a shit about it. Zack Snyder gives a shit about the properties. Like you realize Batman is I'm sorry to Marvel fans. Batman on a scale of everything is way bigger than Daredevil. Batman is like the pinnacle of comic book movies and properties right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get much bigger.
Listen. Let's just be real about it. Because remember, after Daredevil, Ben Affleck specifically said, "I will never do another superhero movie again." Then what's he doing? He's Batman. Why? Because Batman.
Yeah.
That's why. You're right about that. Batman is a top tier.
Yeah, it's a top tier. It's like DC's main weapon in trying to catch up with Marvel Studios in their movies is Batman. Like the strategy is Batman. It's not like look at our phases in our no. It's Batman. You throw Batman in something.
It's bringing back Batman.
Bringing back Batman. So let's just mix this in with the next story because this is interesting. I want to get to something else. So anyway, Ben Affleck, he's reportedly going to write, direct, and star in the solo Batman movie. And I think you're right. He had a change of tune. He said it. He's like, hey, when I did Daredevil, these guys were just like, again, slap on a costume, beat up some bad guys, catch money. Now he's like, they actually care about these characters now. And I know Ben Affleck likes Batman too. So maybe he may actually make a good movie. And here's the interesting part. Who's he writing a movie with? Fucking Jeff Johns, Mr. Fix-It. You know, so it could be good. I can't get excited just yet because I still got to see him as Batman. But I think you're right. People, the reason comic movies have been so good since Iron Man is because the people who write them give a shit about them now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a film like what was it? Even the first Iron Man film, like, you know, what's his face? He cared about putting out a good product.
Yeah, and, exactly.
You know, even to the point where it's like, all right. You know, like I know, you know, you've heard of all the stories about how much of a problem that film was to get to make. I mean, like even they said they started filming the film before they even had a real script.
Yeah, exactly. And then even Robert Downey Jr. was a problem because it was like, because remember at that point, people were like, this guy's a little bit of a troublemaker. I don't know if you guys, this is they considered him a risk, you know, because of his past, but
because of his past.
But everybody involved, even though it was shaky, they wanted to make a great Iron Man movie, and they did.
I think that's also part of the reason why he probably will not stop playing Iron Man for one reason, because it literally brought his career back again.
Yeah, because remember, he said he was done after 3, but hey, he's back in Civil War. He knows what's up. That's he said it himself. He owes, you know, that movie his career again, you know, because now he's hot shit because of Iron Man.
Yeah, and they put him in other stuff. He got Sherlock Holmes and all that other stuff because of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now with the Batman movie, we don't know when the hell this is going to come out, because this is going to come out after Justice League and after Ben Affleck puts out, because he's doing a movie on his own. It's based on a book or something. He's doing that.
Is it for Warner Brothers, by the way?
I'm not sure. But you know, it's interesting how he's gonna be the trifecta. He's gonna be starring in. He's gonna be writing it. He's gonna be directing it.
No, we'll see how it is.
We shall see, exactly. I don't exactly still trust Ben Affleck.
I think in general, Ben Affleck is a good actor, but I still don't feel that he is right for Batman.
Yeah.
I go with my original choice. You know who my choice is.
Yeah, we talked about that. Manny thinks it should have been Henry Cavill. He should have been Batman.
No, that wasn't my original choice, but Henry Cavill would have made a good choice. That's my man, Jonah Hex.
Oh, Jonah Hex?
Josh Brolin?
Josh Brolin. That's the guy who needs to be Batman, not Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but the problem is he's Thanos.
He's Thanos now, so all right. Oh well, he's a big CG monster now.
I think Affleck has proved himself as a good writer and director. I mean, Argo was a good movie.
I mean, Good Will Hunting. You know, he makes good films. So I mean.
Yeah, and if he pitches this movie right, if Jeff Johns is really working with him on this, then they will modify the slate to have a Batman movie. I mean, it's Batman.
Oh yeah,
right?
they will
push it off for Batman. It's like, oh shit, this is good. Yeah.
They said it. They're like, yep, if we get this going, everything's getting shifted around, because you have to. Because why, Chris? Batman. That's why.
The thing is, again, you know, I mean, all this stuff aside, everybody's getting excited about the Dawn of Justice film, but at the same time, it's so much happening in it, and I just feel like it might end up being a big problem.
It could be.
You know?
And I'm glad you bring that up, because this is what I want to talk about. I was reading an editorial on the Latino Review, right? Mm-hmm. And the guy was saying, he listed 5 ways of how DC is actually going to outdo Marvel, and the main one he kind of kept coming back to was like, they're just starting in the middle. He actually thinks that's a strength for them. They don't have to give you the backstory. You don't have to build anything up. They're like, oh yeah, we're just getting to the point in Marvel after 12 movies that the heroes are going to fight each other. DC's getting to that shit right away. You don't have to build up Joker. He's just there now. So he says that's a strength. I don't subscribe to that. I think you could have built the movies up a little more, but what do you think about that? That it's good that DC doesn't have to. Like he's saying, you don't have to build up Superman because you know who Superman is. You don't need to build up Batman because you know who Batman is. You don't need to build up Wonder Woman because you know who she is. So he says they're in a good position.
Well, I mean, not the thing is that you know who Wonder Woman is, but you don't know the specifics of Wonder Woman.
No, but
I mean, she's not a big. I mean, people know the name Wonder Woman and they know how big she is, but they don't know her fucking origin. Like what?
No.
Yeah.
She's
They just know she's an Amazon.
They just know that she's Superman. She's Superman woman.
He's speaking from like a guy who knows and reads comic books. He's not speaking from the point of these movies and introducing these characters the way that Marvel has done it is that they know majority of movie audiences they need to fill seats. They cannot fill theater seats with just comic book fans and making movies for comic book fans. It has to aim for center, and you have to get people to embrace these characters. So they had to change them. That's why there's a cinematic universe. They had to adjust them to appeal to a broader audience, and then introduce that audience and educate them on who exactly these are. Captain America is an old character. He's almost as old as Superman. Yet there's people like, who's Captain America? They had to tell you, right? There's guys like that. There's people like that who don't know this stuff, that. But they want them to pay to go see this stuff, right? These guys don't know Iron Man is. So I guarantee there's people like Wonder Woman. She's the chick that spins around. Wonder Woman. Like they don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so to say that it's a strength that they skipped all that shit and get to the action, I don't really see that as a strength.
No, I don't.
I don't either. I don't really see it either. I think it's a weakness. Actually, you need to earn that. You know. You need to
exactly.
Earn that.
I mean, this is okay. Obviously, they're doing a movie that probably should have been done a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, if we're going to go down this road of having Superman versus Batman, don't throw fucking 100 other characters in there. As much as I want to see a Wonder Woman and an Aquaman and all these people, you don't need to drop that all in there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up, by the way, because we do want to see these characters. We just don't want to see them all in the same.
I don't need to see. I mean, I'm cool. I don't need to see Jason Momoa Aquaman for a couple years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob Zombie Aquaman.
Well, yeah, and also like the movie started like compiling on itself, becoming almost Justice League without calling it that, right? It's like Aquaman appears, then Wonder Woman appears, and somebody else may appear, and they just start throwing people into the movie. And it's like, you can't just do that when they appear. It's like, I came off my island. Like, what? Who? Where?
It's like, Cyborg's going to be in it. Who?
Yeah. And he's an obscure one. They can't, like, this guy, I don't understand the logic where this guy's going to expect. Do people know who Cyborg is? Really? From where? If they watch Teen Titans Go, maybe, and they only know that fucking comical show, they're not going to know who this character is.
I almost feel like he's trying to remake The Watchmen with the DC superheroes.
Yeah. You know I'm glad you bring that up because you can still argue like that the average man knows Superman. You can argue that the average man knows Batman. You can argue that the average man knows Wonder Woman. But when you start talking about the other guys, the average man doesn't know who the fuck Green Lantern is. They don't know who the Flash. They don't know.
And everybody thinks Aquaman is gay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
he's goofy,
they think he's silly.
Exactly. So yeah, you can't. And then you're gonna throw Jason Momoa. It's like, wait, that's not Aquaman. Like, think about it through the average man's lens. You know, they think this guy with blonde hair, you know, with the stupid yellow and green suit, and all of a sudden you have this like big Samoan guy showing up. You know, it's like, who the fuck is this guy? That's not Aquaman.
Yeah, he's Aquaman. And Wonder Woman, like I said, like when's the last time Wonder Woman's been on screen? In the 70s?
Yeah.
Dude. She's never had a movie ever.
No, not just a TV series from the 70s.
That's all people would make. That's not Linda Carter. Who is that?
And then they'll throw Linda Carter as her mom just for the hell of it to give you a little.
By the way, since we're here, I want to go down this guy's list because there's 5 of them. It's like I said, it wasn't a badly written one. I just don't agree with it. He says that the first example he brings up is Hydrox. Remember that shit? So he was saying that Hydrox was the first, kind of cookie like that, right? And everybody liked it, but then Oreo came out and outdid them. He's like, maybe DC's gonna be, a little bit sweeter in that sense. It could outdo Marvel, or in their case, it'll be a lot darker. Maybe, by the way, that's something else. Not in this article. Somebody brought up that maybe people are getting tired of the kind of silliness of Marvel and they want something darker. Do you think that's possible?
No, I mean to be honest, here's the thing, to be honest, I was getting sick of the kind of overzealous like non-funnity of the friggin' Batman films. Non-funnity. Yes. That's the word of the day. If you hear it again, scream. So the kind of like as much as I like there's only one of the Chris Nolan Batman films that I like, and that's the second one. But the other two was just like, seriously, this thing is it's like a silly film trying to be serious, and you don't think that's a little, I mean, I'm like watching Batman Begins, and it's like the big MacGuffin of that film is like, you want to spray the city with fear gas that's underwater with a microwave gun? Really?
Which doesn't affect anyone but the water.
And it doesn't vaporize anybody but just the water in the city to make everybody crazy? What? And that's what that last one felt like too. It felt like a really silly super. See, the thing is that you can suspend your disbelief when the film is a little bit lighter. If you look at the Avengers, you got what was Loki's plan? It was to take over the Earth with a bunch of aliens.
Yeah.
You've already suspended your belief the minute they said fucking Loki.
Yeah.
And just the type of films is like they're able to tell these compelling stories and not be too serious about it.
Yeah, remember Age of Ultron? He's like, we're fighting robots, I'm shooting arrows, none of this makes any sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's fun, and I don't think that you can, like, DC shouldn't make everything dark. Like, Superman shouldn't be a dark character. That was one of my main problems with Man of Steel. I'm like, I grew up with Christopher Reeve being sort of this Boy Scout, and it was colorful, and Superman stands for all this stuff. And then the Henry Cavill, and not any fault of his own or whatever, but it's like, why is he always brooding? Why does he have a miserable... Even his childhood was miserable.
Yes.
I'm like, why is Superman depressed?
Superman was like a mutant, all these powers.
All these powers. I can't be like a normal man. I mean, Christopher Reeve Superman, in general, they gave him tragedy. But in the end, it became a reason to move forward. And that's what you want from tragedy. People can relate to tragedy and understand it. I mean, that's what I always felt that, Superman kind of was missing, because at least the comic version of him, he's very sterile. Like, he has everything going for him. He has the American dream. He has no reason to,
Yeah,
be
but
angry.
I mean, he would save people and say something like corny, but it was like he's always trying to like help people and lift their spirits. And then, Cable's like, this means hope. But then he snaps Zod's necks and takes off. Everybody's like,
he's like, this means hope. So does this.
Yeah. Also, and then in the next scene, he fucking throws a spy satellite at that army dude. He's like, here's your shit. Stop watching me.
Stop watching me.
Oh, like, goddamn.
Yeah, that was really insane.
He's like, I grew up in Kansas, for God's sake.
Yeah, I don't know. DC is going in that direction. I don't necessarily agree that everything should be dark. Like, you have your dark character, right? Batman. That's why I love the
Batman
Justice League series. Yeah, that's why I love the cartoon series, because he was that odd man out in Justice League, right? He was the one always worried about shit, having contingency plans. Like, fuck this, I'm gonna do things my way because I'm Batman, and that was awesome. Like, now you can't have everyone be Batman now. Everybody can't have a dark origin and a shitty childhood.
In the DC universe, everyone is Batman.
Yeah. Who's the guy that was talking shit about Marvel? Is like one of the DC guys who was talking shit. It's like, oh yeah, our movies actually have realism and substance. We're not just joking all the time. Like, so it was one of the DC guys saying that shit. I don't think it was Zack Snyder.
I really think that they need to, I mean, you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. I know you want to be like, hey, Genesis does, but Nintendo don't. But don't be doing that, because again, it's another situation of the pot calling the kettle black. The only difference is that, when something stupid happens in your world, you still treat it unbelievably serious.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, wait, they have realism? I saw Metropolis crumbling like the cookies.
Yeah, they totally have realism where a whole city is able to collapse on everybody and no one dies.
Yeah. Not only that, at the end of that movie, he goes to work and everything's fine. I'm pretty sure the Daily Planet also fucking crumbled.
Yes.
Right?
That thing with the friggin' that friggin' device was not far from the Daily Planet, so yeah, it's probably not up.
Half of Metropolis, I swear to God, it looked like chalk.
And and then the other thing is like, okay, he's gonna go directly to work after he after he did all this amazing, all this stuff, nobody would, if nobody would let anybody near that fucking ground zero that all this shit happened.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
for days. I mean, I hate to use real life experience, but when the Twin Towers came down, the area around that area was off limits for blocks. And the Daily Planet wasn't even that far from where this big old event happened. So they probably wouldn't have let anybody into the Daily Planet.
Yeah, and then you heard people like, "Oh yeah, what are your plans for this weekend?" It's like, you mean like try to like dig my wife out of my house, like, and
yeah, everything somehow went back to normal. It's like, no, you just had a horrible catastrophe.
Yeah, you can't say you have more realism and stuff when you have that stuff. It's just that you don't joke about it. There was no wittiness or anything.
Yeah, I think it was Zack Snyder that said it.
People have shawarma after they saved the world, but that was a neat thing. That was like, it adds some levity to that. You didn't have any levity. Everything just you hit a reset button and everything just goes back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at them eating the shawarmas in that place, they're not joking around. They're just sitting there like,
yeah, they're all
what the fuck did we just do?
Yeah, and I still believe the end of Age of Ultron was a criticism of Man of Steel. They were actually saving people. People were like, "Oh, but Ultron wasn't a threat." It's like he wasn't a threat, but those fucking people were in danger. you know?
Yeah, Superman didn't lift one finger to save anybody.
Yeah,
except for his one choice at the end, where he is like, which involved Lois. Come on, guys, seriously. And that's actually my gripe with Lois Lane in general, that she always has to be in danger for fucking Superman to be in there. It's like, because if you remember in the Christopher Reeve film, right? When Zod and those guys came around, right? Okay, eventually they picked her up, but there were points where she wasn't involved and he was just fighting them.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't need Lois Lane doesn't always need to be in danger.
Yeah, she really doesn't.
She doesn't need to be in danger. She can just go. There can be a big battle and she's just reporting on it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right. But it's like you're talking about, our movies are more realistic. Like, no, if it was more realistic, then why didn't you depict that at the end of Man of Steel?
Yeah.
It seems like they're gonna depict that at the beginning of the Batman movie, but it's like, yeah, but you just had this point where everybody was happy after the whole city was destroyed.
Yeah, like, yay, it literally played the fanfare from from Return of the Jedi. Yup, like, no.
No comic book movie adaptation, except if it's like 100 bullets or something, should mention realism. Like, don't even go there. If you're making a superhero movie, we're already in fucking like some weird fantasy shit. So
you're talking about a movie that involves a man who can defy gravity, pick up, has incredible strength, and can throw lasers from his eyes and freeze things with his breath. That's totally realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he can fly, and it's unexplained.
And it's unexplained.
He just does it somehow.
He just does it because
because the sun is yellow.
Out of all of them, would probably be the only one who could possibly be somewhat realistic is Batman, because all he is, when you bust down all the stuff around him, he's a vigilante in a suit.
Yeah,
right, with gadgets.
Gadgets.
I mean, Christopher Nolan, that's what he tried to do. I think
that's exactly what he tried to do. But
he tried. I mean,
he tried to do. I mean, again, there's very comic booky things, but I do feel that his portrayal of the Joker was very.
Oh, that was great.
He did. It did you did feel the crazy in that guy. You know.
Yeah, definitely, man.
But that's also because of Heath Ledger as well. So
yeah, he really went into it. Like, he locked himself away for days and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy shit, man. So anyway, so we're gonna probably get more information as the weekend goes on. So if you guys want to ask us any questions about San Diego Comic-Con shit, make sure to drop them on. Throw down your questions.
I do wish that we had somebody over there looking at stuff.
Yeah, that would be nice. But San Diego Comic-Con's hard to get into, even if you are press. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a mess over there. It's really bad. All right, let's start wrapping this up. A couple of things. So Otanime has been recorded, people.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, we finally did it.
It is in the can or on the net, as you whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already seen it or heard it, but for you guys that just go to Coalition, you know, you will get it on Saturday. It's already scheduled and everything, so you'll get the time. We're talking about Bakano and Gunbuster.
Gunbuster.
And we also get heavily into Dragon Ball Super because
yes, we do.
So it was a good episode. I enjoyed that one a lot. Everybody was there. I think Carlos, the whole gang was there, so that was good.
Yeah, you know, some technical issues with our buddy with Lorray, but you know, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. And the shit I keep forgetting to mention for 2 weeks now, we have Coalition T-shirts, people. Buy them.
Coalition T-shirts.
Yes, for men and women. By the way, you want to get your girl something, you know?
Yes, join the Coalition and buy a Coalition T-shirt. Snazzy logo.
Yeah. Oh man. By the way, Skype sucks.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Because Brett is like, when are you gonna put the Skype link? I'm like, I put it like 2 hours ago, and he was like, Skype hasn't updated since like Monday.
Wow.
That's what happened to Chris. Me. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is exactly why I say, and I keep saying, fucking Skype is shit.
Yeah,
I will at least when I send some shit on AOL, it doesn't get like lost in the ether of time.
Unless you close it down, then it does get lost.
Unless you close it down, but even then, you could have your AOL store all of your previous correspondence. That's why I see stuff when you send it off at me.
I'm sorry. That's one thing. That's one of the low points I think of Xbox was the integration of Skype. I love Xbox Party Chat or whatever on the 360. When they put Skype in Xbox One, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have the problems I do on PC because I have this problem all the time. Tony sends me messages and they're like in the ether, and then at some point it'll just vomit. Like, boom, here is a whole bunch of shit comes in. Or I'll type messages to you guys, and I just see that little circle spinning for like an hour, and they don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I've never had those issues, but apparently, fuck, man, stupid Skype. So yeah, our teasers are up there. I'll put a link down there and stuff so you guys could buy some of this shit. And if you buy enough, we will have more for you. So please buy them.
Yes, just support us, and we'll be able to do more cool things like that. Maybe a Throwdown shirt. Who knows? Maybe a Knights of the Turntable T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. It's possible, but you gotta show support. That's how it works.
Yeah. And what do you get? You get a cool T-shirt, so that's all good.
Exactly. And the last thing is make sure to check out my review of Ant-Man. I went to a screening of it in 3D.
So does that mean you're gonna go see Ant-Man again with me?
Yes.
Because
Yo, man, we don't break tradition.
Okay. All right.
We don't break tradition around here. Plus, I'm gonna do a spoiler-filled review for you guys, so I definitely need to see the movie again. There's a lot of shit I wanted to say in the actual review, but I couldn't.
You need a refresher.
Yeah, so it was. I'll say this: it was good. You read my review, no spoilers. I enjoyed it. Marvel does it again. That's all I'll say. People always ask me, where do you rank it? It's better than the last two Iron Man movies. I would say it's like in the lower middle because it's good, but it's not amazing. Is
it better than Thor? Thor's not a bad film, but
I like Thor. I like Thor more because it's Thor. Thor's one of my favorite characters. Okay. And I know, but some people may feel differently than me because they were like, "Oh yes, it's better than the first Captain America movie." I'm like, that movie was really good, but I'm like in the minority.
But I wouldn't say it's the greatest of films.
No. But I seem to be a minority there. People don't seem to like that movie for some odd reason.
I thought it was okay. I mean, Winter Soldier was a far better movie.
Man, Winter Soldier,
Winter Soldier was fantastic. It's like up there.
Though I feel like the Thor films have kind of always been the same level of okay. Like they're not the greatest of films, but they're they're good.
Yeah, I could agree with that. But yeah, Winter Soldier, I think the other thing about that movie is like, I don't think everybody was, like, it looked cool, but when you saw it, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it also had a very, it had a very James Bond feel to it, too. Like, where, it starts off with him in action, and then the movie starts, it was a very well done film. And as the film got on, it's like, oh my god,
Holy, this is insane.
Like they were able to ramp it up, and I feel like what happened with the original, the first Avenger, the first Captain America film, is that you get that montage and then you lose. There's so many cool things that probably could have been happening in there, and you just kind of get this montage of him punching things, and it felt a little bit weird. But then again, you got to realize that film also had so much in it to kind of set up.
Yeah, it did. It really did. But so yeah, go check out that stuff. And man, I think you guys will mostly like it. But I know some people are gonna be like, I don't know about that.
It's the Ant-Man.
They made a movie about a guy who talks to ants and shrinks work. So I'll give them that. And it has cool little Easter eggs in there too, which you shall see, setting up Civil War and all that, which is always good. All right, let's wrap this shit up. Thank you for watching and listening. Be sure to follow The Coalition at thecoalition.com. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Throwdown Show and on Facebook. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
They call him the Ant-Man.
And Mr. Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everybody.
All right, people, throw down your questions. It's coming later.